The sound of dripping water echoed through the darkened space. A weak flicker from a dying fluorescent bulb painted the cold cement walls in ghostly flashes. The room smelled of rust and damp earth. A woman, blindfolded and gagged, sat rigidly in a chair, her silk blouse torn, her designer heels missing. Her name was Mary Westbrook. She was no ordinary woman. A billionaire. CEO of Westbrook Technologies. A name feared in boardrooms and admired by Forbes. But none of that mattered here. Here, stripped of her empire and her power, Mary was just a hostage. She struggled to calm her breath, even as the chill cut through her. Every muscle in her body was alert, listening, waiting. Then footsteps. They were deliberate, slow, the kind of walk that belonged to someone who was not in a rush, someone in complete control. She turned her head toward the sound. "I don't have time for games," Mary muttered through her gag, blood from a split lip trickling down her chin. "Who are you?" Silence answered her. The steps stopped just inches in front of her. "You really don't remember me," a male voice said, smooth and venomous. "But you will," a tremor shot through her. Something in his tone. Something familiar. Suddenly, the bulb flickered fully for just a second, and in that instant, the figure before her leaned in, his face catching the light. Her heart stopped. "Ethan," she whispered. The man didn't answer, but the silence was confirmation enough. He was supposed to be dead. 48 hours earlier, the sun rose over the pristine hills of Beverly Crest. Mary's estate, a sprawling fortress of modern architecture, buzzed with controlled energy. The morning staff moved like clockwork, preparing her schedule. On the third floor, Mary stood before a tall mirror, adjusting her diamond earrings. Her phone buzzed. "Yes," she answered briskly. "Mary, we have a leak in the acquisition documents," came the voice of Richard, her chief legal advisor. "If another board member leaks a confidential file before I sign the NDA," she said coldly, "you'll be looking for a new board." She hung up before he could respond. On her desk sat a family photo. Mary, her son Liam, and her daughter Clara. It was one of the few personal touches in her office. Though she rarely admitted it, her children were the only people she trusted. Moments later, her assistant's voice came over the intercom. "Your driver is outside, Miss Westbrook. Send him in downstairs." A sleek black SUV idled at the front gate. Mary stepped in, tapping away on her tablet. She didn't look up until the vehicle turned unexpectedly. "This isn't the route to the conference," she said, eyes narrowing. No response from the driver. She leaned forward. "James? Are you deaf or—" A hand shot from the front seat, pressing a cloth over her mouth. The smell of chloroform hit her instantly. Within seconds, her world faded into black. Liam Westbrook sat in his private cybersecurity lab, eyes glued to the glitching feed from his mother's estate. His fingers flew across the keyboard, rewinding the footage again and again. Still nothing. Clara's voice came from behind him. She was dressed in all black, her hair tied back in a military bun. Calm. Calculated. Clara had left Army intelligence 2 years ago, but that discipline never left her. Liam shook his head. The camera outside glitched right when the driver exited. "We see her get in the car, and then boom signal scrambled. Military-grade cloaking?" Clara asked, stepping closer. "Yeah. Stuff I've only seen used in state ops." Someone planned this. They looked at each other. Whoever had taken their mother knew exactly what they were doing. "We go to the police," Clara said. "Mom would hate that," Liam argued. "She's not exactly in a position to object," Liam sighed, rubbing his temples. "Okay, But we don't wait around. We start digging. Detective Alvarez looked over the footage Liam brought in, eyebrows raised. You're telling me someone kidnapped Mary Westbrook and used military cloaking tech to hide it? Yes, Clara replied flatly. And we think we know who. Alvarez leaned back. Go on. Liam typed on his tablet, pulling up an old article. Ethan's ST. Claire, Mom's former business partner, co-founder of Westbrook Tech, died in a car explosion 12 years ago in Zurich. Died, Alvarez asked. Declared dead, Liam corrected. But we're not so sure anymore. Mary sat still in her chair, heart racing as she stared at the man before her. You died, she said. Ethan's expression didn't change. You made sure of that. I never meant for it to go that far. You thought you could betray me, take the company, and live like none of it mattered. I watched from the shadows as you became what we were supposed to build together. Mary fought back tears. Ethan. I know, he snapped. Don't speak like we're friends. He dropped a folder in her lap. Inside were surveillance photos Liam entering a building. Clara on a shooting range. You're going to watch them suffer next. Mary's eyes didn't waver. Then you don't know them at all. Ethan smirked. We'll see. The night air over the Santa Monica Mountains was crisp, but Clara barely felt the chill. She sat behind the wheel of her matte black SUV, eyes locked on the GPS map glowing from her dashboard. A silent alert blinked red. A cell tower ping unusual, encrypted, and triangulated within a restricted canyon about 30 miles west of the city. I've got something, she said over her Bluetooth headset. Liam's voice crackled through. Is it active? No outgoing calls. Just one bounce. Whoever's there isn't using commercial signals. I've isolated a short burst of data coming from that same region. Same time window. It's piggybacking off satellite transmissions like someone's using weather patterns to hide traces. Clara's grip tightened on the steering wheel. That's not just military. That's Ethan's style. Be careful, Liam warned. If it's him, he's thinking 5 moves ahead. Clara smiled grimly. So am I, she gunned the engine. Inside the dark compound, Mary hadn't slept. Not really. Ethan had left her alone hours ago, but her mind was spinning. Every word he spoke haunted her. The betrayal, the explosion, the past she had buried with money and silence. She had built an empire, yes, but it had been on shared dreams that went up in flames the day Ethan supposedly died. The ropes around her wrists had loosened. Slowly, painfully, she'd worked at them while Ethan monologued about revenge. She knew the type: narcissistic, strategic. He needed to gloat. That was his weakness. She finally freed her left hand. Carefully, she pulled the rest loose, wincing from the raw skin beneath the rope. She stood slowly, testing her balance. Her legs ached. Her lips were dry and cracked, but her mind sharp as ever. She crept to the door. Locked. No visible handle from the inside. Her eyes scanned the room. In the corner, a metal pipe. She picked it up. Ethan wanted a memory? He'd get one. At the Westbrook Tech Command Center, Liam had bypassed firewalls that he and his mother had personally helped design. One by one, he accessed archived files, boardroom minutes, incident reports, financial audits from 12 years ago. The Zurich explosion hadn't been clean. The coroner's report listed unidentifiable remains. The report was closed within 2 days, unusual for an international executive. A digital folder popped open. ST. Claire Legacy IP. Liam stared. It was a dormant project, a prototype AI architecture Ethan had written before his death. He opened it. Line after line of code filled the screen, but something stood out. A command tree named Vindicate. The subfolders included strategic disruption plans, psychological profiling of Mary, and something called Phase 3. Liam's stomach dropped. This wasn't just about kidnapping. Ethan was executing a long-planned attack on the company, on Mary, on everything they'd built. He hit the emergency protocol and sent a secure message to Clara. Move fast. This is bigger than Mom. Clara reached the gravel turnoff just before midnight. Her SUV's headlights cut through the trees, casting long shadows over the dense forest. She parked half a mile from the GPS ping, grabbing her gear, a Glock, infrared goggles, and a silent drone she'd hacked for stealth operation. The terrain was rough, but she moved like a ghost. 30 minutes later, she found it. A concrete entrance carved into the hillside. Old, weather-worn. Possibly an abandoned Cold War-era shelter. The drone hovered above as Clara crept closer. Her tablet displayed the layout, a crude floor plan generated by sonar mapping. 3 rooms. 1 large central chamber. Heartbeat steady, she whispered to herself, "Let's finish this." Mary was still near the door when she heard Ethan return. She slid back into the chair, ropes wrapped loosely to appear secure. The door unlocked. Ethan stepped inside, holding 2 cups of tea. "I figured you'd be thirsty," he said, offering one. Mary stared at it. "Afraid you'll poison me?" Ethan chuckled. "No, I want you alive for what comes next." He placed the cup on the table beside her. Mary shifted slightly. "You really think this ends with you winning?" "I don't think. I know. Your empire's crumbling as we speak." She kept her tone even. "You know what happens when you play chess with someone who's already sacrificed her queen." He tilted his head. Mary moved. In a blink, she grabbed the metal pipe and swung hard. It hit Ethan's hand, sending the second teacup flying. He stumbled, the cup shattering across the wall. Mary lunged again, this time connecting with his side. He grunted in pain, but recovered faster than she expected, catching her wrist mid-swing and slamming her against the table. The two stared at each other, panting, locked in a deadly standoff. "You haven't changed," he growled. "I have," Mary hissed. "I'm not the one hiding in shadows." Before Ethan could strike, the lights cut out. Total black. Outside, Clara had disabled the power grid with a short-range amp. The drone fed her thermal scans 2 figures inside the center room. She entered silently, gun raised, clearing the first 2 chambers with quick efficiency. Inside the final room, she heard shuffling. A crash. Then a voice. Clara, Mary's voice. She moved. The flashlight beam swept the room. Mary stood against the far wall, Ethan's form lying half-conscious on the floor. "Don't move," Clara shouted. Mary raised her hands, blinking against the light. "He's down." Clara moved to cuff him. Ethan laughed faintly through bloody lips. "You think this is the end?" He rasped. "You've only delayed it." Clara didn't answer. She tied his hands and kicked his weapon away. "Call Liam," Mary said. Now, back at Westbrook Tech, Liam's system pinged. Incoming video feed. Mary and Clara appeared on screen. Behind them, a bound Ethan. "You found her," he said, breathless with relief. Mary nodded. "But it's not over." Liam turned his screen. "Ethan's virus Vindicate. It's already in the company's system. I don't know how far it's spread. Then we cut it off at the source," Mary said. Ethan laughed. "It's decentralized. You can't stop it. It's already seeded in your global servers." Mary turned to Clara. "We need to burn it all." Liam hesitated. You mean the core? The original servers? Mary nodded. If we want to end this, we have to destroy everything we built. The silence that followed Mary's statement was heavier than the air in the darkened bunker. Liam's voice came through the screen again, hesitant. You're talking about a full purge, wiping out 30 years of proprietary systems. The data vault, the AI, core, everything. Mary didn't blink. It's the only way. Ethan embedded Vindicate directly into the architecture we created. If it activates, it won't just take down Westbrook Tech, it'll trigger blackouts, stock crashes, and possibly cascade into national systems. He didn't just want revenge on me. He wanted chaos. Clara adjusted her grip on her firearm, eyes flicking to Ethan's battered body in the corner. Where's the primary key? She asked. Ethan smiled through a split lip. You'll never find it. Not before it spreads. My failsafe activates in 12 hours. Mary stepped closer. Then you'll help us stop it. Or I swear to God, Ethan, I will end you with my own hands. He looked at her long, cold. Then, for the first time, his smile faltered. Back at the command center, Liam was already typing. The room glowed with lines of code. Every server on the Westbrook Global Network was pinged. Patterns were emerging, strange behaviors, phantom processes, backdoor scripts. The virus was waking up. Clara, he said over the comms, I need his biometric key. Its voice locked and retina mapped. She held the mic close to Ethan's face. Say the phrase. He turned away. Clara pressed the barrel of her gun gently against his knee. Ethan, you've lost. You want revenge? Fine. But this will destroy lives that have nothing to do with your vendetta. His jaw tightened. Then, quietly, he muttered the phrase. A mind that breaks cannot rebuild. A chime sounded through Liam's headset. Got it. Retinal scan? Mary stepped in. She leaned close to Ethan, holding his face. I should have buried you deeper, she whispered, before snapping a photo with Clara's portable scanner. Within seconds, Liam fed both inputs into the system. Access granted, he said. But instead of relief, alarm filled his voice. Wait. Something's wrong. There's a secondary layer. He wasn't lying, it's autonomous now. Mary's eyes went cold. What do we do? Liam hesitated. We burn it. 3 hours later, the Westbrook family was back on private grounds. Clara and Mary had returned by chopper, landing directly on the headquarters helipad. Liam met them with 2 duffel bags and a hard drive blinking red. This is the control node, he said. Once we trigger the burn protocol, it wipes the system clean, but it'll also destroy all R&D, financial archives, and product source code. We'll be left with nothing. Mary took the hard drive and stared at it. Sometimes, she said, the price of peace is everything you built. Clara looked at her. Are you sure? Mary gave a small, grim nod. I'd rather lose $1 billion than live knowing I handed the world to a man like Ethan. They descended into the sub-levels of Westbrook Tower, beneath the marble floors and glass conference rooms, past the levels accessible even to executives. Here, behind biometric doors and reinforced steel, was Core Vault 1, the digital heart of Westbrook Technologies. The chamber was a marvel of engineering, rows of servers, blinking lights, and an AI interface glowing softly in the center. This was where Mary and Ethan had built their legacy. Liam connected the hard drive. A countdown began. 30 minutes to ignition, he said. No going back. As the systems began to purge, the AI interface lit up. A face appeared faint, modeled after Ethan's younger self. The ghost in the machine. Mary, the digital voice said, You've chosen destruction. She stepped forward. I chose justice. You could have ruled everything, the voice hissed. We had the world. She stared into the hologram. You wanted domination. I wanted progress. And I should have stopped you long before Zurich. The voice laughed, echoing, glitching. You think this ends with me? Mary didn't flinch. It ends now. She pressed the red button on the interface. A low hum filled the chamber. The server lights turned amber, then red. Slowly, each terminal died one by one, like stars going out. The system was erasing itself. Ethan, still in custody, watched from a secure cell as the monitors outside his holding room showed the servers crashing in real time. A flicker of panic crossed his face. His life's work, his revenge, all of it disintegrating. A security guard passed by his cell. Ethan whispered, almost to himself, she actually did it. Above ground, chaos brewed. Westbrook's stock plunged 37% in 30 minutes. News anchors called it the biggest digital self-destruction in corporate history. Former board members demanded explanations. Government officials requested emergency meetings. But Mary stood before the press with steady poise. Our systems were compromised by a man who betrayed us all 12 years ago, she said. Rather than allow him to endanger lives and collapse infrastructure, I chose to erase everything. A reporter asked, is Westbrook Tech finished? Mary met their gaze. No, we're free. Later that night, the three Westbrooks sat together in Mary's study. The silence between them was heavier than any of them wanted to admit. Liam spoke first. It's all gone, yes, Mary said. But we're still here, Clara added. Mary looked at her children. Her eyes, tired but fierce, finally softened. I spent years building something to prove I could survive without Ethan, she said. And in doing so, I became exactly like him, paranoid, ruthless, isolated. But I forgot what mattered. Liam smiled faintly. So what now? Mary sipped her wine. We start over. This time together. They sat in silence for a moment longer. Then Mary reached under the table, pulling out an old folder. This, she said, placing it before them, is the first thing Ethan and I ever created together. An idea for a decentralized security platform, open source, free to the public. Clara raised an eyebrow. You want to release it? Mary nodded. Ethan wanted to control the future. Let's protect it instead across the city. Behind a dimly lit cafe, a man in a gray coat watched the news play on a small TV through the window. He adjusted his sunglasses and sipped his coffee. Next to him, a burner phone buzzed. A message appeared. STT. Claire down. Phase 2 failed. Awaiting instructions, the man typed back. Initiate fallback. Omega protocol begins at sunrise. He pocketed the phone and walked into the night. Because Ethan might have lost. But someone else had just begun. The sun rose over Los Angeles with an eerie stillness. For the first time in decades, Westbrook Technologies' headquarters remained dark. No security buzz. No bustling staff. Just silence. Mary stood at the edge of her penthouse balcony, wrapped in a cashmere robe, staring out at the skyline. Below, reporters still lingered, drones hovered distantly, and news choppers circled like vultures. She sipped her coffee in silence. Behind her, Clara entered quietly. They're calling it the purge of the century, Clara said, holding a tablet with headlines glowing across the screen. Public support is mixed. Some say you're a hero. Others think you've lost your mind. Mary didn't look back. They always call women crazy when we make hard decisions. Do you regret it? Clara asked. Mary was quiet for a long moment. No, but I'm not done. She turned, her expression hard. Find out who sent that message after Ethan fell. Clara blinked. You saw it too? Mary nodded. There's always another layer. In a small rented office in Koreatown, Liam sat surrounded by tangled wires and half-assembled equipment. He worked quickly, rebuilding a new network from scratch. The old systems were gone. But with Clara's help, he had salvaged raw archives from unconnected backups. Most of it was unusable. But one file stood out, a ping from the burner phone used to send the message after Ethan's arrest. It had bounced off a repeater tower in Inglewood, but then rerouted through a signal masking device, advanced, but not perfect. He cracked the trail slowly. Then, a name. David Markhand. Clara's voice came through his headset. Did you say Markhand? Yeah. That name means something to you? She was silent for a moment. French ex-military. Blacklisted after a cyberwar operation, went rogue. Went underground 10 years ago. Last known associates were Merck's surveillance. Infiltration would work. Liam frowned. He was Ethan's backup plan? Or something worse? Mary and Clara convened later that afternoon in a secure location, an old Westbrook testing lab no longer connected to the grid. It had no servers, no cameras, just concrete, bulletproof windows, and whiteboards filled with equations and strategic plans. Mary circled a map that Clara had drawn on the wall. If Markhand is still in the city, he's not hiding, she said. He's watching. Waiting. Clara pointed to 3 industrial zones where surveillance black spots had increased in the past 48 hours. If I were him, I'd use one of these to set up a local command post. From there, he could launch physical or cyber attacks. Mary narrowed her eyes. Then we take the fight to him. Clara hesitated. Are you sure? You're not the one who should be on the front line anymore. Mary met her gaze, eyes like steel. He came for me. I'm ending this. That night, Clara and Mary geared up in tactical wear. Clara had reactivated a contact from her military past, Noah Decker, a reconnaissance expert turned freelance operator. He met them at an abandoned train yard near one of the suspect zones. You're really doing this? Noah asked Clara. She nodded. We find Markhand. We shut him down. Permanently. Mary stepped forward. He wants to finish what Ethan started. I'm not giving him the chance. They moved quickly. Infrared drones mapped the warehouse perimeter. Clara and Noah breached first, sweeping the rooms with suppressed pistols. Mary followed, surprisingly agile, every step measured. Inside, the facility was cold, high-tech, but sparsely populated. 2 guards were taken down without alert. Clara located a hard drive connected to a tactical router, live connection, encrypted. Liam patched in remotely. I'm in, he said. There's something weird. This isn't just data. This is live video feeds from half the city. Traffic cameras. Facial recognition. Private security networks. He's tapped into everything. Then his voice changed. Oh no, what? Clara asked. Liam paused. He's watching us. Right now, a screen on the wall flickered. A live video appeared, Mary, Clara, and Noah inside the warehouse. Then, Markhand's voice filled the room. Bonsoir, Mary. She froze. Your move against Ethan was noble, but predictable. He was just my doorway into your world. Mary stepped toward the screen. What do you want? Markhand chuckled. I want what Ethan failed to take. I want control. And now that your systems are down, the world is mine to rewrite. The feed cut. Then the walls detonated. The explosion wasn't large, but it was precise. The charges ripped through the north wall and ceiling, collapsing scaffolding and tossing Mary and Clara behind a stack of crates. Noah pulled them out, blood running from his scalp. They sprinted through smoke and debris, alarms screaming. Clara covered their exit as Mary climbed into the vehicle with shaking hands. Back at the lab, Liam watched the satellite feed as the warehouse burst into flames. "I lost signal," he said, panicked. "Are you okay?" "We're alive," Clara replied. But Marquand isn't just watching anymore. He's moving. Hours later, Mary stood alone in a high-rise safe house, looking over encrypted blueprints of Westbrook's old satellite network. Liam entered quietly, placing a tablet in front of her. This was buried in the recovered drive. A list of locations Marquand has accessed in the past week. Mary scrolled. Military bases, data centers, air traffic control. He wasn't just planning to destroy Mary. He was preparing a digital coup. She looked at Liam. "We need to go global," he nodded. "I'll set the secure channel." At dawn, Mary held a private video conference with representatives from the Department of Defense, Interpol, and a joint EU cybersecurity task force. She laid out everything: Ethan's sabotage, Marquand's infiltration, the real purpose of Vindicate. "This isn't about revenge anymore," she said. "This is about control. Global systems are being manipulated as we speak. We must act now." A long silence followed. Then the European director leaned forward. "Do you have a proposal?" Mary looked into the camera. "Yes. I want to build something new. But not alone this time." She paused. "And not in the shadows." 2 days later, the world watched as an unexpected coalition formed under the radar. With Mary Westbrook at the helm, backed by her children and international agencies, a covert operation was launched. Its goal: eliminate Marquand's digital infrastructure before he could activate the Omega Protocol, a global cyberattack designed to disrupt energy grids, financial systems, and military satellites. From a black site in Geneva, Liam coordinated the tech assault. He wore a headset and paced in front of a wall of screens, each tracking different data nodes connected to Marquand's system. "The protocol goes live in 6 hours," Liam reported to the task force. "Once initiated, we won't be able to reverse it." "This is our only shot." Clara, stationed at a secure base in line with Noah and a small international strike team, double-checked her weapons. The physical servers tied to Omega were stored underground in a fortified vault beneath an abandoned observatory in the French Alps. "Marquand's bunker has drone defense, biometric access, and a self-destruct trigger," she warned. "We need simultaneous access to both digital and physical entry points." Mary's voice came in clear over the encrypted comms. "Then we move together." One final time, in the frozen mountains of France, Clara's team approached the compound under cover of darkness. The snow muffled their footsteps. Above them, the abandoned observatory's dome reflected the pale moonlight. Inside the structure, Marquand watched them on thermal monitors. He stood before a towering wall of servers, flanked by 2 armed mercenaries. His fingers typed commands with eerie calm. "You never learned, Mary," he whispered to himself. "Every empire burns. Yours just took longer." He hit the first command. "Omega Protocol armed." At the same moment, Liam launched the counter code from Geneva. His fingers flew across the keyboard as he navigated the live firewall defenses Marquand had set. He sent a signal to Clara. "Firewall breach in 90 seconds. "Get ready," Clara signaled her team. They moved in, disabling exterior drones with EMP darts and clearing guards at the tunnel entrance. They descended into the frozen steel corridor, heartbeats syncing with the countdown in their earpieces. At the base of the tunnel, a biometric lock glowed red. Mary's voice came over the comms again. "Use his fingerprint," Clara reached into her jacket and pulled out a transparent sheath, a stolen imprint from Marquand's last security incident in Paris. The scanner turned green. The vault door opened. Inside, Marquand turned toward the hallway. He heard the hiss of the vault unlocking. "Impressive," he muttered, drawing his weapon. Clara entered first, sidearm raised. Noah flanked her. The lights flickered as Liam's counter-code began disabling security systems. "Step away from the console," Clara ordered. Marquand smirked, gun still at his side. "You can kill me, but you won't stop it. I don't need to kill you," she said. "Just stall you." Behind her, Mary stepped into the room. Marquand's expression faltered. "Hello, David," she said. He aimed his pistol, but Mary didn't flinch. "You destroyed your own life for Ethan's dream," she said. "But you never understood him. He wanted vengeance. You want power. And that's why you failed." Marquand fired. The bullet struck a reinforced plate beneath Mary's jacket and ricocheted off. Clara tackled him. They crashed against the console. Marquand struggled, grabbing a blade from his boot. But Clara was faster. A single blow to his neck dropped him to the floor. "Clear," she shouted. Liam's voice crackled in. "We've neutralized the final node. Omega Protocol is offline." Mary exhaled. It was over. In the aftermath, international media erupted. Cyber coup foiled by tech mogul Mary Westbrook, the fall of Marquand. From shadow to prison, Westbrook legacy reimagined, Ethan's DT. Claire remained imprisoned in a high-security facility, never speaking another word after hearing of Marquand's capture. The Omega Protocol's code was dismantled and stored in a secure vault by a joint and cybersecurity force. As the dust settled, the Westbrooks emerged from the shadows not just as survivors, but as visionaries for a new kind of tech future. 1 month later, in a modest office in Santa Barbara, Mary sat before a small audience of engineers and former competitors. Behind her, a screen displayed a logo, W-Free, a decentralized open-source platform designed to protect digital infrastructure against authoritarian control. "I lost everything," Mary said to the group, "but that gave me the freedom to build something better without greed, without fear, and without compromise." Clara stood at her side. Liam operated the presentation. They weren't just a family now. They were a movement. The applause was real. And this time, so was the purpose. That night, as the three of them watched the sunset from the beach outside their temporary home, silence settled over them. No servers buzzing. No encrypted pings. No helicopters. Just the sea. "I still miss it," Liam said quietly. Mary looked at him. "The company?" He nodded. She smiled. "You'll build a better one." Clara glanced at them both. "What if someone tries again? Another Ethan. Another Marquand." Mary took a deep breath. "Then we'll stop them. Together." She leaned back into her chair, toes in the sand. "For now, we rest but hundreds of miles away, in a server room hidden beneath a luxury hotel in Singapore." A terminal blinked to life. A message appeared. Node 87 still active. Awaiting instruction, then another. W-Free compromised. Operative embedded. Somewhere in the room, a shadow moved. Because the war for control never truly ends. It just waits for new players.